And it's something I now call the CPS strategy, a system that's generated tens of millions of dollars since. It's a 4-stage process that turns selling into a genuine conversation. Attention, identify, solve, and close. Let's start with attention. This is where you break the ice, build rapport, and get the prospect to open up. It's not about diving straight into your pitch. It's about making the prospect feel like an individual. So do your homework. Look up their socials and find something unique that you can personally connect with them. Next, and most important of all, it's stage number 2, identify. This is all about genuine, selfless conversation. By the end of this stage, your prospect should believe entirely that you are the correct person to solve their problems. And to get there, you're going to focus on 3 key things: their current situation, desired situation, and their need for help. Now that they understand the need for help, it's time for stage 3, solve. The prospect can't only believe that we are the correct person, but they must believe we have the correct solution too. So make a short value statement that speaks to their specific needs. Something like, great, so I help hair transplant clinics get more patients by building automated sales systems. This is your permission to go in for stage 4, the close. The client quite literally asked you to close them, so you are in full control. Yet most people prompt the close and they say something like,
Well, what's up, my fellow editors? Hope you're all doing good. I've seen that we have a lot of new faces in the community, so just wanted to welcome you all. In today's video, we're doing something different. I decided that I do not want to do an animation breakdown of an overlay or / animation that I've previously made, but I want to do it from scratch while I'm recording the video so you can actually see the creative process behind it. So yeah, for today's video, we have one of our clients, Jordan Plata, who recorded a VSL for us. I mean, for him, we're just supposed to edit it. But as you can see, I've already done some stuff. I've cut down the video. And as you can see, this video is 20 minutes long, but we just don't have too many cuts in it, which is, I think, great. We advised them that we do not want to have too many cuts. We just wanted to hear the natural flow of him speaking and just having some natural pauses in between. I just think that the cuts definitely disrupt this type of flow that I'm trying to describe. Also, I've designated all of the places where I want the overlays to be at, but that doesn't mean that some things are not going to change. And as you can see, the whole timeline is filled with Jordan's audio, and I do not want that. For some places where I put in overlays, I'll probably put in more space in between without audio, just to have some kind of a pause, some kind of an interruption from the speaker constantly being heard in the video. I think that's really important, especially with longer videos, because for engagement purposes, a lot of people think, I just have to put in the next sentence as close to the previous one as possible. But in reality, people just need a couple of seconds to let their brain process what's actually being said in the video, right? Especially for a 20-minute one. But also we have different colors for the overlays, and that's because everything has a purpose of its own. The pink ones, if I can call this pink, violet, whatever it is, they're just normal overlays, and I'll definitely try and put in some more colors when I decide which one is supposed to be which one. For example, if it's a transparent overlay, then I'll just change it to a different color so I know it's a bit easier for me to do, so then I can structure my workload in a way where I have enough time for everything. But today we're going to do this bluish type of overlay, and as you can see, we only have 5 of these, but this is actually just one animation, and I'm going to explain why. Usually in sit downs and in storytelling, we have this kind of chapters, points, something that's being repeated throughout the video. For Jordan, we have a system that represents 4 points that he's going to explain in depth throughout this segment of the video.
And it's something I now call the CPS strategy, a system that's generated tens of millions of dollars since. Now, it's my firm belief that this CPS strategy is the difference between those that succeed as service business owners and those that fail. It's a 4-stage process that turns selling into a genuine conversation. Attention, identify, solve, and close.
So as you can see, there are 4 points, and it's supposed to represent some kind of a system, but it's a system of communication in a way, since it has to do with sales. Well, The first thing, obviously, I've exported all of those into After Effects, and then I've just put them as audios. As I've said, this is just going to be one whole animation, and then I'm just going to cut it down and put it in different segments. I think it works great when you want to have something placed, if you feel like there is just too much space between two overlays or animations, or there's just not enough happening. And I think this is a great way to kind of add something to these parts of the video. And also this puts us in a position where we have a smaller quantity of individual overlays that I have to make from scratch, and then it gives me a luxury to make them kind of more complex, whatever you want to call it. But anyway, so what's the first thing? And also just another thing, when I added these audios here, obviously some of you do not know the programs fully, so I'm just trying to explain everything that you need to know on the way as well. So when you have multiple audios, and obviously to be placed next to each other, you can just pull them back and do it like that manually, but there is an option to do this automatically. So you just select all of them, you go to Animation, Keyframe Assistant, and you go to Sequence Layers, you click OK, and there you go. We're just going to disable all of the videos for these clips because we don't need it. We need all of the precious power that we can get from our computers. I just want you to not be too rough on yourself if you think that the first things that pop into your mind are not good enough, or there's nothing really about them that can make a good animation. Like, do not pressure yourself too hard. These are just steps that are going to bring you closer to the final goal. And obviously this is the first animation that I'm making, so there is a big possibility that it's going to look like crap, but it does not mean that I haven't done a good job, because if it looks like crap, I'm just going to redo it. Now I have all of the knowledge that I need that I didn't know prior, and then I can just build on top of it. So that's really important. Like, you don't always want to have a one-go solution for everything. Sometimes you just have to retrace your steps, see where you went wrong. Sometimes, like, it's just necessary to do that, especially in the first couple of animations. I've said this previously in the calls and stuff, but I think it's really important for you to understand that not everything that you make is going to look great, and not everything that you make is going to be the final product. Like, you're making a lot of stuff that you're making, it's just supposed to direct you in the correct way, which is much more important than bumping your head about the polished product at the end, because you're not at the end yet. You have to figure out where you are in the process. And if you're at the start of the process, but you're trying to go to the end point immediately, you're just going to put unnecessary pressure on yourself, and your confidence is going to go down since you think that it's not possible for you to create something good. Now we're just going to try and look for some references for this type of animation, which for me kind of seems like something out of a UI IX design type of vibe. Especially with the cards. I like to make some cards, some widgets, something like that. And I think the line is definitely something that we want to introduce. It's supposed to be some kind of a path towards all of the points that we're trying to reveal throughout the video. So this is probably something that looks cool. And also, we're just going to screenshot all of the things that we like, all of the things that we kind of want to bring into our project. So this one's really cool as well. I'm going to screenshot that. Instead of these little balls or circles, I'm just going to introduce some kind of a card maybe, but I just like that connection. Like, it has to connect to each other. Now, this is definitely something that looks much more suitable for our video. This is also something I like. It's kind of like a reveal, mysterious type of vibe where you're just concentrated on exactly on the point. So now we're just going to bring all of these screenshots, kind of make some sort of a vision board. And also what we want to do, we want to figure out what colors we want to use, because this is my first animation. So I just want to figure out how is everything supposed to look like? What style am I even going for? For the vibe that Jordan brings to me, it just has to be sleek. It just has to be simple. This is how his landing page looks like. So this is almost like an insight of how I want to approach this. We have these segments which are dark, and we have these segments which are lighter. And obviously I do not want to keep this kind of aesthetic, the same exact aesthetic for the animation. But essentially what I really like is these two fonts that come with each other. So one is blue and then one is white. That's definitely something that I want to use. And this grayish background. Now that I see it, For some other videos, I'm probably going to use the brighter one, just a white background, but I might want to introduce a grayish type. Now, this is our color scheme that we're going for. So let's try and see what are we going to actually do with all of the things that we have here combined. So after some thinking, there's definitely going to be a line, right? And then we're going to have these points. I don't even think that we're going to have a certain asset here that's going to represent what point we are on. I think we're just going to fill up the lines as different colors as we have here. So we're going to fill it up with 4 different colors as 4 segments. And then I want the cards to stay behind the line like this. But for the cards, I actually want them to have a different shade to them, a different color, so it seems like they're, or even a different opacity as well, so it seems like they're not revealed. So as the line fills up with the color of the segment, the card will pop up, and when it pops up, I want it to have some kind of animation on it, and I definitely want to have this kind of text dynamic with both of these colors and both of these fonts. And this little square or rectangle for the number, I'm going to put it here as enumeration of what point we're on. So we're still kind of giving them an insight on the exact number. Well, ladies and gents, we've talked a bunch. We tried to brainstorm a bit, but nothing really makes sense until you put it in the program and when you actually start making stuff. And that's also another important thing. Look, you have to find references. You have to find some kind of inspiration that will get your brain kind of flowing, you know, and moving around and trying to think about other stuff, trying to come up with other stuff. But none of that works if you don't try and actually go into the program and try to create something. Otherwise, you're just going to get stuck into that analysis paralysis mode, and you'll just think that there's nothing that can come to your mind, but essentially you just have to dig a bit deeper, you know. Let's jump in. For now, I'm just going to pre-comp this so we have only one layer. It doesn't take too much space. And then we're just going to try and make that card or actually we're just going to try and make the line first, because that's kind of our guide for everything else. So the line shouldn't be too big, but since the animation is pretty long and we want a bit more motion in it, we're just going to make it a bit longer for that sake. And let's remove the fill, and we can put the stroke to white, and we want the line to be thin. We do not want it to be too thin as well. I think this could work. I'm not 100% sure, but so what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the opacity down where the line kind of gets that grayish look, so it looks like something's going to be on top of it. It's not highlighted too much. And then what we're going to do, I'm not sure if I want to keep the line with just sharp edges or I want to introduce like a mask for a gradient. I think I'm going to think about that later. But anyway, for the cards when they pop up, how are we going to do that? Well, my thinking is that what's going to be displayed on the line when the cards pop up? That was my question. So I was thinking, obviously we have this type where we just have these separated lines and they're used as sections. This one doesn't do us too much, doesn't tell us too much, but essentially what I wanted to do is try and put gradients, like different color gradients, or maybe actually I have a better idea. I think I have a better idea. So anyway, we can make another line, and we're gonna make the opacity all the way up, and then we'll just use this mask to move around the highlight of which card should be revealed. So yeah, let's just use this mask, and we're going to pull it like this, and we're just going to adjust the feather, make the expansion be smaller. Yeah, I think this is probably what I wanted to achieve. And then what I want to do, I'm going to put this all the way up. Yeah, like usually when you're trying to transform a shape, the best way to do it is by going into the path if it's like a rectangle or something. But if it's a line, you can just click on it. But for me, it's just easier to just scale it up a bit when you turn off the constraint proportions. But yeah, anyway, so what I wanted to do with this line, I actually wanted to put a gradient, or actually just wanted to put a mask on top of it as well, so it looks like it's going throughout the whole screen. I think that's the look that will fit this more. So it goes throughout the whole screen and then just kind of fades out at the end. Probably something like this. Make the mask smaller, and then we're just going to animate the mask as things pop up. But now I'm seeing that the line just looks a bit too fat for my taste, you know? The line just looks a bit too fat for my taste. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to parent this one here to the shape, so we can just move it a bit down because I want it to be in that position kind of. But yeah, for the lines, you might want to go with like 6 pixels. I will add deep glow on top of this one because I think it's not that highlighted yet. So I just want to see how it looks. Yeah, definitely we want to highlight it later on. But anyway, so that's the line. That's the first thing that we needed, and now we have to make the cards. So the first thing that we're gonna do is make the first card, and then we're gonna pre-comp it. We're going to duplicate the pre-comp 4 times, or 3 times actually, so we have 4 in total. And then we're going to go in and change the attributes for the other ones, because you don't want to make the 4 exact same cards with just different text and different colors 4 times, right? You just want to save your time. Yeah, that's what editors need to do. They have to save time so they have some social life, you know, so they can have a girlfriend, or they can go out, or whatever it is that you guys do. Hopefully not drugs. But anyway, we're gonna go in, we're gonna make a card, and for this card, what I'm seeing here, I'm not sure. I don't want to make the edges be round. Like I don't like that look anymore. I always try to, when I'm obviously there's some kind of guidelines that I go about when designing something, just like that doesn't have to do with the project, and that is like, what do I find the most appealing at this moment? Like what I think is the most trendy kind of design preference that I can pull off. And I think like the round edges, definitely something that has been overused for such a long time. For this one, I think I just want to keep the roundness to 0. Then we're going to make this card the color of how we want it to look like when it's highlighted. So we just want it to be blue. And yeah, I think every single one should be blue. I think that's the best way to go about it. I just have to see like what's the best blue here. We don't want it to be too bright, but also we don't want it to be not saturated enough. So I think this one works. Then the stroke, we're going to lose the stroke. We do not want that. And actually we do want the stroke. Sorry. The stroke is actually that can make a great design if you use it like this. So you put in the stroke for the card, you make the color a bit brighter, and then what you do is you just make the stroke be super thin. So I think it looks cool. I like it how it looks. I'm not sure if I want to put a gradient on it, but I might not want to put anything. Like I think it looks good like this. The only thing that I would change maybe is I would put the fill color to be a gradient. So we're just going to go in here, and yeah, I think, yeah, this is something that it's not too different, but it's different enough for you to see. And then we have these little strings that we can pull. So we can just make it look like it has a bit of gradient in it. And let me see if we want to lose that opacity. No, we do not want to lose the opacity. So the next thing that comes into this card, as I was saying, is definitely the number that we wanted to introduce. And now this can be something that has round corners. I'm okay with that. I'm totally okay with that. But obviously we're just going to keep it white now since we made the whole thing blue. I also chose a font which is not the exact same one that we have on the landing page, but I think this one looks really cool as well. So it's called Clash Display Variant, something like that. Yeah, we're just going to use medium, and we're going to make that number. I mean, we're going to use different variations. It just depends if it's a title, if it's a description, a paragraph, or a number, whatever it is. But for this one, we'll keep it on medium, and we're going to make the color be the same one as the card. And now I'm seeing that it definitely needs to be, the number definitely has to have more weight on it. So I'm just going to change it to semi-bold. See how that looks. Now that looks amazing. So yeah, we're just going to leave it there. Now, obviously, we want to have some kind of a visual on the card.
Attention, identify.
So the first one is attention. So how are we going to visualize attention? Now, obviously, we can just put in PNG icons on here, but I don't think that's good enough. I think it has to have like a bit more depth into it, so it's not like too basic, right? Because when you're making an animation, the thing that you're trying to do is put in as many details into it so it's as authentic as possible, and then that way it actually feels like it's connected to the video. That's what kind of makes it, that's what differentiates these type of animations and stock footage, for example. Now, these circles or these balls are something that I'm probably going to input into the animation, but in a different way, obviously. And I want to use that as a visualization of what we're trying to portray. So for the first one, it's attention. And what I think for what we can do for the attention one is we can just introduce a circle, right? Or just an ellipse, if that's how you call it, right? Is that how After Effects calls it? A rectangle? How the fuck is this a rectangle, bro? Whatever. Anyway, so we're gonna make that a bit brighter. We do not want to have this the same color as the number, because this one has to stand out a bit more. So what we're gonna do is we're going to introduce, or we might actually do that later on, like when we pre-compose the whole animation. Yeah, I think that's the better way to do it. But anyway, so we have this little circle, and what's the best way to kind of represent attention, right? It's something that's spreading around. It's something that's spreading around, and the simplest way to explain that, and this is what I like to do for certain animation. This is what I like to do in general. You know, I just try to find the simplest way to explain it. Like, how would you explain it to a child? Obviously, that would be the easiest solution, or the best solution for everyone to understand, right? We're going to have this ball, and then we're going to make another shape layer, which is going to be with the ellipse tool. So it's just going to be another circle, but this one's actually a circle because it won't have the fill in it. It's just going to have the stroke. We're going to put it like this, and we're going to make it, I just press Option Command and Home to make the anchor point be in the center. So I don't know if you knew that, but now you do. Yeah, let me check if this is in the center. Should be in the center. Should be, yeah. But anyway, yeah, this looks good. We're just gonna make it a bit smaller, something like this. And then this ball is also going to be a bit smaller. So what I wanted to do essentially is put in multiple circles so it seems like a signal, right? It seems like it's spreading around. So we're just going to go here, put this one like this, keyframe the scale for both the shapes, move it here, make this bigger, make this bigger, and yeah, that's pretty much it. But also what I want to do is kind of introduce that signal to the animation, signal to the movement that's going to happen, so it just has more life to it. And how do I do that? Well, obviously I'm just going to pull both of these scales a bit down before it goes up. Oh, sorry, not the way I wanted to do it. Yeah, like this, and then at the end we're just going to pull it a bit more up, and then it goes back down. So yeah, we're just gonna ease that out, see how that looks like.
And it's something I now call the CPS.
There you go.
Strategy. CPS strategy.
I'll just make it a bit faster. I have to play around with the keyframes always, so you get the timing right.
And it's something I now call the CPS strategy.
Yeah, it looks good. So what's the next thing that I wanted to do? Well, the next thing that I wanted to do is duplicate this shape. So you want to duplicate it multiple times. We want to have at least at least 5, 4 or 5, something like that. We're just gonna put it here. We're gonna press U to get all of the keyframes from the layer. I mean, you can press scale here because we just have this this keyframe, but usually if you want to see all the keyframes that you have keyframed for the layer, you can press U on the keyboard. Anyway, we're gonna select all of the keyframes so they all get positioned the same. So this is the first one, right? This should be the second one where we select all of the keyframes in that layer. We move it up. We can also move it down though. And for this one as well, we do the same thing. I feel like the last one might be too big though. I feel we don't need the last shape. So let's see how that looks now.
And it's something I now call the CPS strategy. And it's something I now call...
Yeah, we just have to make the ball be smaller.
And it's something I now call the CPS strategy. And it's something I now call the CPS.
I would say that represents attention nicely in a way. Like you can just tell the connection between it. It doesn't have to be completely connected, right? But I just wish for these circles that they actually they have their own timing. And then what we're gonna do, press Option, type in loop out, and we're going to say ping pong because we have two different values at the beginning and at the end. So it has to ping pong. When it loops out from the last keyframe to the first when it comes back. So let's see how that looks. Yeah, it looks good. Anyway, as it ping pongs, we have to duplicate that for every single keyframe or scale that we have on these layers. So we're just going to copy expression only. We're going to go here, Command V, to do. Let's go. Let's see how it looks now. Yeah, it looks good. The only thing is when I do all of the ping pongs and stuff like that, I always like to go here and duplicate these frames or these keyframes just because like it feels too fast when it ping pongs back immediately. Right? We just want to have that pause, but we also want to have that pause at the beginning. So what I will do, I'll just go here, grab all of these as well, and let's just paste it right here. Let's see how we do now. Yep, looking good, looking good. I like that, I like that. So the next thing that we want to do, we're just going to pre-comp all of this, and then we can just move it around a bit, see what's the best place for it. And also the text that I want to introduce, I think I'm just going to introduce it at the bottom. So I'm not 100% sure if I actually want to make this shape look like this, or I want to introduce the number and the title of the point. But we're going to change that. We're going to see how what we want to do. But for this one, what I wanted to do, I just wanted to add a gradient ramp and change the color. As I said, I don't want it to be the exact same color as this upper thing, but it might be if we have the title as well. So we're just going to see. Let me just pull this one here, pull this one here, see how that looks. Yeah, I don't see any changes, to be honest, but sure, whatever. Yeah, doesn't really matter. But what I also wanted to do is for these kind of circles and stuff, I might want to change the opacity. So this one's 100%, this one's go to like 80, this one goes to 60, this one goes to 40. So it looks a bit better, right? Like it's just fading out as like these circle signals are further from the ball. Another text that says attention, we can make it completely white because this first thing is kind of there, but we want them to see the title. The number is there to like help them see what's up, but we don't want it to be like the most highlighted thing. Maybe we even want to put it like this. Yeah, now we talking. And then obviously for the circle animation, we want to put it to be a bit smaller. Actually, this one might work in the middle. We're just gonna pre-comp everything from here. We're gonna name it card. What a great name. Very unique. I want to see how big the card is. And then the text is supposed to be here, but there's something you're gonna see. You're gonna see. You're just gonna see. What we're gonna do now, we're gonna duplicate all of these cards, or just this one card to have multiple cards. And let's just see how it's named, because the source name is the name that you have to search for. So precomp 3, we go to window, and this is just a plugin or an add-on that you can, for free, add to your After Effects. You can just duplicate multiple compositions. It's called True Comp Duplicator, and we need 3 copies. So let's just duplicate selected, and let's see where the fuck it is. Yeah, I don't know what it does here. Like, it just names it weirdly, and that's my fault, because I've added the characters as well to be labeled as for the pre-comps, but doesn't really matter. Anyway, let's drop them in. Boom. There we go. Let's see what scale this one is on. 80. Okay, we're gonna put 80 in every single one, and then we're gonna put the first one where we want it all the way on the left, which is somewhere around here. We can just turn on the proportional grid to see what's up. And yeah, I do not like the anchor points, which are not centered, but it doesn't really matter. We're not gonna rotate it or whatever. So yeah, let's just put this above, because it's going to be above. And let's put this one in a position where we want it to be when it's revealed. So we're just gonna place it there, and then we're gonna get to the last card. I'm just gonna rename these. I don't really name layers that much. Like, it can become a problem when I have too many shit happening in the composition, but you know, it might be good to name layers. You know, it might be good to go here and just type in layer card 2. Here we go. We go to card 4, and we put it all the way here, right? Oh shit, I don't think it's going to actually, they're going to fit. That might be an issue. Anyway, you select the first one, the last one with shift, and you go to align, and you can align them with distribute horizontally. Here we go. So they're right next to each other. Yeah, maybe even a bit more closer. Like, this is just stupid shit, you know, that I like to do. Like, but it makes a difference, kind of. Here you go. The first one has a bit of a lower position for some reason. I'm not 100% sure why. And now, ladies and gentlemen, what do I have under my sleeve to make this piece of crap look better? Well, the first thing that I can do is try and come up with a way on how these cards are actually going to pop out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate all of these cards. Obviously, the line that we have that's on the cards doesn't look good when the cards are full capacity or full opacity. And what we're going to do here, I think I want to make like kind of a gradient where the cards beneath the line are actually just stroke of the rectangle, and above the line, that's where we actually show the cards, right? So how are we going to do that? Well, ladies and gents, we'll just have to go into one of the pre-comps and select the shape that we have here. Now, the issue is we just have to position it directly on the shape that we have above. I should have thought about this earlier so I don't have to do this, but fuck it, who cares? I'm not sure if I want to keep the stroke be the same color as the card, or I want to keep it white. I think who cares? We'll just see it later. But anyway, let's try and position it exactly where this card is. So we have the stroke exactly positioned on top of the card. If we're trying to precisely navigate with one of the tools like scale position, you just hold the command key and it moves much slower than it will normally move. And now we're going to move every single one of these shapes to where the card, where each card is. So if some of you didn't understand what this stroke is supposed to do, let's try and make the effect that I had in my head happen right now, and I think you're gonna get it then. Obviously, all of the text and the animations will have to, we have to remake for the second, third, and the fourth card, but also we have to figure out the spacing because essentially it does look a bit too tight with this thing being too down. Anyway, guys, let's jump to what I wanted to show you. So I'm just going to parent these shapes to every single card that we have, just so we don't have to animate twice stuff and we don't have to worry too much. I'm gonna make a solid here. Let's make a solid, and this solid is gonna be called full card feather. I think it might be easier if I just pre-composed everything after I animated it, but fuck it. So what we're gonna do here, well, we're gonna pull this one up and just make the mask feather be a lot. There you go. We're gonna select all of the cards that we have here and we're gonna trackmate it to that thing. There we go. And this is something that I wanted to accomplish. And as it's moving down, obviously, as it's moving down, it's kind of, you see, it's actually just losing the fill, and it just left like a stroke. There's some other things that I want to do here. Put another solid, but this time I'm just going to invert it, and then I'm going to select all of these shapes, and voila. There we go. Now we're just going to play around with how this looks. We want to put it maybe a bit more down, and then for this one we want to put it a bit more up, something like this. And then obviously we're going to have text here, so it's not just going to be empty. And one more thing for the strokes, we're just going to lose the opacity. We don't want it to be like completely seen. We want it to be like a bit less highlighted. But also this solid is just reducing the opacity of the animation too much, to an extent where I just have to play around with it. We just want to change up all of the cards so they all have their specific names and animations. We have to come up with the animations for every single card. We have attention, identify, solve, and close. Cool. So identify. What could identify mean? Well, the first thing that pops into my mind is a magnifying glass, right? A magnifier. Like it just kind of plays around. We have multiple balls or circles on the screen. They're just kind of wiggling around. And the magnifier just kind of zooms it in and it moves around as well. So that's the thing that pops into my head for identify. The next thing is solve. Obviously puzzles. I really like using puzzles. So that's something that we can use. And close. Well, close is something that I do not have a hint in my head immediately. So what we're going to do, we're just going to go here, icon library, and we're just trying to see what I mean, this is not what he means in the video in terms of close. In closing, he means like closing the deal. So maybe we want to search something like deal. Yeah, obviously shaking hands, but I don't like it. Just cannot be simplified enough for this aesthetic that we're going for. Let's see what happens if we enter purchase, for example. Maybe make something like a basket where all the balls drop in. That could be the close. I think that could be the close. So, identify. We're going to change the number to numerato. Yeah, we didn't align this properly, so it always starts from the left. And then we're going to lose this animation and make something new. Actually, we might go in, you know, we might go in, and we already have a circle here, so we don't have to lose time by making another circle. Like that can literally save us decades, right? We want to remove all of the scale thingies, and we're just gonna make it much smaller. And then we're gonna go to position, press option again, so open expressions, and then we're just gonna type in wiggle 1 and 3. Actually, I think this is not enough. 3 and 6. If you don't know what wiggle does, one of these is how fast it will move, and the other one is how much is it going to wiggle in terms of distance or in terms of the position. Yeah, this looks good with with a distance, but we just have to make it a bit slower. Yeah, something like this. Something like this works. And I'm just going to duplicate a bunch of these. We're going to put them around. They have to look like they're random, right? This does not look random at all. Now this looks a bit more random. Yeah, I think this works. Let's make another shape. And this one's just going to be the magnifier. Obviously, we use the ellipse tool. We're just going to lose the fill, add the stroke, like this. We're just going to add it. And then we're going to add another stroke right here. And that looks good. Make the anchor point in the center. And then we can move it around. So what are we going to do here? Well, we're just going to move it around. First, we have to animate that. So firstly, it moves like this. Then it kind of spins here. Kind of spins here. Goes up here. Maybe even goes to the same position, right? So now we can use a different loop out method. Anyway, let's see how this looks. We're just gonna ease it a bit. Move it closer. I think we have to move it much closer, but it doesn't matter. Let's see how it looks. Yeah, we just have to move it a bit more so it's fast enough. Yep, pretty much what I wanted. I'm just gonna copy and paste this here so it has a bit of room so it doesn't start again immediately. What do I want to put in? Oh yeah, loop out. Loop out, and we're gonna put cycle now because we have that last keyframe, which is the same as the one at the beginning. And then we're just gonna do the same thing here. Voila, there you go. Let's see how that looks like now. Yep, exactly what I wanted. So the next thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open this up. And now I'm gonna make the stroke much bigger, like this. I'm gonna pre-comp every single thing that we have here except for the magnifiers, like this. And then I'm just gonna use the track mate. Oh no, shit. I'm gonna use the track mate from the pre-comp to the shape layer that I've put the stroke to be thicker. And then I'm just gonna reverse it. So this way there's just a bit of spacing in between because it's the same color. So it kind of looks ugly, you know, when it gets onto the ball, like you cannot differentiate things. So I think this kind of makes it look better. And then the next thing that we're gonna do, we're gonna go here again, boop. And then we're gonna remove the shape or the handle that we have, and we're just gonna keep the ellipse. And when we keep the ellipse, we're gonna put the fill to something. We just have to put the fill to something. And then for the pre-comp, what we're gonna do, we're gonna duplicate this pre-comp, and we're gonna set the track mate to the shape layer. And then we're just gonna make the scale. Oh shit. Yeah, it's this. Is this? Yeah, I just played around a bit, and I duplicated the same pre-comp of the balls. And anyway, this one that I want in the magnifier, I just track mated it to the shape where I added the fill. And after that, we're just gonna make it a bit bigger. So like it looks, it's like magnified on the glass, right? Make it a bit bigger. And then for this one, we're just gonna lose the opacity. It's just a bit, I don't know if I confused you when I tried to make the magnifier effect and like the glass of the magnifier. But anyway, what I did, just duplicated the pre-comp of the balls. And then on this pre-comp, I made this shape, which just filled up the circle that we had on the magnifier. And then I just track mated the one of the pre-comps to that shape and just scale it up a bit. But also, I think there's something else that I want to do. Like now we do not have the inner stroke. So I think now we have to go here. We have to pre-com these two. Ah, shit, I fucked it up. Oh, wait, I know what I'm gonna do. Like, this is easy. This is super easy. Look, I'm just gonna go here, ellipse path, and just lower the size, bro. Come on. Come on. Stop playing around with me. I know my stuff. But now we can see the one below, which is an issue. We do not want to see that. Oh, wait. Wait, I'm gonna duplicate it again. Wait, let me go back. I'm gonna go back. Keep it how it was. Duplicate this layer. And then from this pre-comp, which is connected to the fifth one, right? And this one should be connected to the fourth one because we're going to keep that how it is. And then for this one, we're going to just lower the size. There you go. Now we're talking. That's exactly how I wanted it to look like. There you go. And here it is. The card is done. Let's go. Let's go further. Fuck, this is the third card? Oh, come on. I thought it was yeah, this one's in the wrong place. How did I do that? The next thing that's really bothering me is that like we can barely see these animations. Not barely, but it's obvious that it's not at full opacity, and I do not like that. I do not like that at all. I think we'll have to do something about it, but we'll just have to figure it out later on. So we made the magnifier animation, we made the like attention animation, and now the next one that we have is solve. This was going to be pretty easy because I'm just going to use a bunch of puzzles. So we're going to go into the third card and let's change this to solve. Let's go and change the number to numero 3. And some stuff just has to be done manually, you know? Just some stuff you have to do manually. And then we're going to go into the animation again. And let's change it up. So yeah, for this one, we do not need anything from here. So we can just leave it. And let's just search for a puzzle. I mean, let's use this one. I do not like that it doesn't have sharp lines, but I guess it'll just work. And also, it's cool that I saw that it has like this outline version as well, and then we're gonna use that, and you're gonna see now how we're gonna use it. So here we go. We have these puzzles right here, and as you can see, I have the normal version, which is the filled version, and I also have, oh shit, I also have the outlines, right? So yeah, what I'm gonna do here is I'm just going to move them together, and then so I see that this piece of puzzle cannot even go into the other one. Like, why would you make it like this? Like, why would you make this functional design? How am I supposed to connect these two now? Yeah, we'll just then move it a bit closer. We're not gonna like completely connect them. Then I'm gonna grab the outline and I'm gonna parent it to the filled piece of the puzzle. Obviously, what we're also gonna do change the colors, but like you can see it. You can kind of see it, you know? Anyway, so we're going to grab these two and we're going to just move them back. We're going to fix the rotation as well later on. I think it's just easier if I fix it after I pre-comp it, and then move this one as well. Yep. And then what I'm also going to do, I'm just going to bring that little motion before the actual start, just so we have that little detail in there. Since we cannot really connect the puzzles, we have to come up with something that's going to be entertaining to the viewer, you know? But yeah, that's pretty much it. We're just going to move this closer, move this one closer as well. Let's see when we ease out how it looks. Wait, what? Oh shit, I think I just made the position wrong at the beginning, so let's just exchange those two, move this closer. Yeah, that's pretty much what we want. Just we don't want it to move that fast. Sure. Still a bit too fast, maybe. A bit too fast. Yeah, that works. That works. I think that's gonna be enough. Obviously, using expressions, loop out, and let's say ping pong. And here as well, we're just gonna copy this expression and then paste it. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool enough. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna grab the mask for these two. You see, I'm just gonna mask this thing. We're just gonna animate the path of the mask. So here, when it's kind of further away, we want just to have the outline, and then when it's closer to the other puzzle, we just wanted to have the fill as well, so it looks like it has connected, right? Would be nicer if we can actually connect the puzzles, but since we cannot, we have to do something else. Move these points. Obviously, if you don't know how to move points, like sometimes when you grab it and you're like, oh, how am I gonna move points? Like, how does that happen? Well, we just press shift. You click on one, then you just click on one normally, and or if you want more, you can click on that one and then click while holding shift, you can click on the other one, and yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. Now, obviously, nothing's happening, so that means we have to change this, subtract, and just invert it, and then we can just ease it. Let's see how that looks. Yeah, that looks good. I'm just thinking, like, we have to put in some keyframes here so we can loop it out as well, because I want this to loop out with the motion so it doesn't just happen once. But I don't think that's possible. Is that not possible here? We'll come up with something. It's not an issue. And let's animate the mask. We're gonna put subtract. We're gonna put inverted, as we did previously. Here you go. Here it is. Boom. And then we just have to figure out how it's gonna move back as well. But don't worry. We're gonna do that easily. We might have to pull some manual ways that I know, but it is what it is. That's how you have to do it sometimes. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the puzzle animation. But if we are going to make it loop out how I want it to loop out with the mask and everything, then we just might do this, we might just do this. We duplicate this one, we go into time, and we go time reverse layer. We put this fucker in. Yeah, see, we can just duplicate it many times. There has to be a shortcut, there's always a shortcut, but it is what it is. So we have to change the color of this, and we're just going to use tint for that, because the color that we have now is black, and then we can map black to white. We're going to map black to white because we're going to change all of the animations to be white, because they cannot be seen that much currently. Oh, actually, this one has a gradient on it as well now. I mean, there's something else that we can do. That might be a good solution for this. But we'll just have to do that at the end, right? We want to do all of the adjustments and stuff like that. We want to keep that at the end. We don't want to use too much time right now.
My firm belief that this CPS strategy is the difference between those.
Now that I see it, I want to move the puzzles a bit closer to each other, because I feel like they're too far away on the card when they get separated. So I'm just gonna do that here. Yeah, there's something popping in my mind right now that I can improve. I mean, there's a lot of stuff we can improve, but you just have to go through you have to build the blocks first of the house, before you kind of decorate it and stuff. You have to build the foundation, right? So we just have to make the last animation for the fourth card, and let's just do that right now. And we already know what we want. So did I change the? Oh yeah, I did. Okay. So let's go here. Go into the fourth card, change this, and we're gonna write close we're closing this. We're gonna go here. We're just gonna save the ellipse. We're gonna make it smaller, and we do not need the expression. I don't know how we're going to loop this out because all of the balls will just be in the basket. I mean, we can. We'll just figure it out. Doesn't really matter. Anyway, we're just gonna remove all of the keyframes, and then what we have to make prior is a shape layer that's gonna be used like a basket, right? Let's just turn on the proportional grid, or actually, let's just turn on the grid, the precise grid, and then we can follow the lines to make it equal on both sides. I would say this looks equal enough, and yeah, that's pretty much all we need. Now, this is a different type of animation, right? Because we're not using the normal easing in and easing out for this type of animation because it's supposed to replicate physics. So we have to like think about it, and we have to think how the ball drops. If you don't know how a ball drops, just try and drop anything on the floor. Try and find a ball that you can drop, right? So, but I think you pretty much get it. This is the first touch with the basket. Actually, I don't want it to touch. I want to have like when it gets left, when it stops moving, I don't want it to like be here. I want it to be here. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep it there, and the top animation has to go a bit more to the left. And then for this one, we're dropping it, and then it bounces up. Obviously, it has to bounce up a bit. So then it drops again. We're just gonna copy and paste this keyframe, and there you go. So how does this work? Well, for this one, we can just separate dimensions here. We're just gonna ease this out. I press function F9 to do that. And then we're gonna go here, and I think this is the easiest way to do these types of motions where we have like a representation of physics or whatever. Obviously, as it falls down, it gains more speed. So when it falls down completely, it just has a bounce up immediately. So we can have a bit of a pull here. So like it slows, it's kind of slower at the beginning, and then whoop, goes back up, which is going to be super fast as well. And then in the air, that's when we have the easing, and then it drops back immediately without any easing. So let's see how this looks. Obviously, we have to pull this thing around, or actually, I think it's pretty close to each other already. Yeah, it's pretty close. But yeah, I think this looks good. Maybe it's dropping. Maybe it's going too far up. Like since it just bounces once, we don't want to have the bounce be too high. But this is just too fast though. The bounce at the end. Okay, we're not gonna do every single ball. We're not gonna animate every single ball. So we're just gonna like pre-comp this, and yeah, just duplicate it a bunch of times. Let's move it around. I would say solid stuff. And we're just gonna move these ones like a few frames above each other, so they don't just drop at the same time. There you go. Now for the loop out, we're just gonna go, is this, no, it's Y position. We're just gonna put loop out here, and we're gonna say ping pong, but we just have to keep this keyframe just paste it here as well. So there's a bit of a pause. And then what we want to do, since like all the balls drop in from this height, then we're just gonna pre-compose it once again, and we're going to go here, put a mask, invert it, just add a bit of feather, maybe a bit more feather. And then we're just going to get this thing a bit lower. Maybe even a bit more lower. Yep. There you go. I think that looks good. And let's just move it around. We're gonna put it here. Yeah. This kind of makes sense now. So the next thing that we want to do, obviously we're trying to get the positions right so everything will be seen clearly. Now, after I'm seeing this, obviously the positioning of the animations and the titles have to be a bit different. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the text about the titles, like attention, identify, solve, close. I'm going to move those and I'm going to animate it separately here on the line so it stays white so the gradient doesn't kill it. And then I'm just going to leave these animations on the card itself. I think that's the best way to go around this.